Today we have a very special guest joining us, Jeff Clark, certified master inspector and the owner of Trident Inspection Group and Associated Exterminators. Jeff's here to share his wealth of knowledge on home inspections, termite, and pest services. They're not talking about me when they talk about pests, are they? I hope not. And how you can prepare your home for sale to avoid costly negotiations. Whether you're looking to sell your home or simply want to keep it in top condition, today's show is filled with insights you won't want to miss. Let's get to it. Welcome, Jeff Clark.
Good morning again.
Good morning, sir. So, I guess I should throw this one at you so that my wife will have an answer to this. We're getting into this time of year, getting warm, and the thing on everybody's mind is mosquitoes.
Yes.
Is there any solution, or do we just have to grin and bear it?
Well, there's a couple solutions that we could get out there. One of my favorites, it's essentially an enzyme. You put a bucket in your yard. It basically covers your yard. It's a monthly maintenance. It puts a little enzyme in the water. Mosquito lands in there because it creates a breeding ground.
Okay.
The mosquitoes land there, drop the larvae in there. Those get sunk. Those get taken off the board, and then they go. The residual enzyme lands on the mosquito. So when they go elsewhere to different breeding grounds, it drops that in there and makes that and sterilizes those breeding sites as well. So there is a solution out there.
So let me ask this question. And again, I know nothing about this. I'll be the first to tell you and everybody else. I don't even know which end of a screwdriver to use. Okay. So if I got that enzyme from you and I put it in my fountain in my backyard, would that fountain serve as the bucket that you're talking about?
No, you'd want to put this. It's non-toxic to mammals, right? But you would definitely want to have that because you want to keep that beautiful fountain. You want to keep that water circulating. Right. So you don't want to create that environment. You want to enjoy your fountain.
Right.
So that's why you set up the bait stations, if you will, outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then the idea is that they're going to pull the mosquitoes over to the bait station.
Correct.
And I'm not going to, but okay. So then I'm not going to have them in my patio then.
No.
Good.
Yeah. It's a monthly service.
Wow. Okay. So
talk to anybody about it.
Pardon?
Be happy to talk to anybody about it.
Okay, well, I'll have my wife call you.
Right. But mosquito season is upon us.
Yeah. So do you have to do this before mosquito season, or do you?
It'd be ideal. You start about a month before, right? But you could start any time. The best time to start is today.
Yeah, because you know something. I don't know. I'm probably like most people that try to keep their wife happy, and I've bought every zapper thingy.
All right.
And we've tried everything, and it seems like nothing. She even goes and puts some lotion or something on, and lavender, I think, is the latest one that she tried.
Right.
We've tried everything.
Well, you need to get some essential oils.
Essential oils.
That's the ticket. My wife will go. I'm in the pest business. My wife, she'll go out, and I'll go, "What are you doing?" She'll be putting peppermint everywhere.
Oh, okay.
It makes his house smell nice.
It's fun. But makes the house smell nice. It probably doesn't do anything for the bugs.
Yeah. Makes the house smell nice.
The only question is, does it attract the bugs?
No.
Okay. Okay. So, ends this special secret sauce from Jeff Clark.
Yes.
Okay. So, and how long does that last? You have to do it year round?
About a month. Just during the mosquitoes, their breeding season is really just during the summer.
Okay.
Right? You can get outbreaks outside of that, but that's really the high point of the season.
Okay, so basically you're going to do it from Memorial Day to Labor Day. Or Easter to Labor Day.
Well, we get a little bit. We could venture into December around in Southern California because we could have 90-degree Christmases.
Sure. Okay, so we've got solution number 1 on Ron Siegel Radio. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, I'll make sure and post that on Instagram later on today.
We're going to do the same thing.
Okay.
Good deal. Okay, so what else is the key topics?
Well, the key topics that I wanted to go over, because just over the past couple of weeks, and that's what I wanted to talk to you and your audience about, was just preparing if you're thinking about selling your house, it's a great opportunity to have it pre-inspected, because some of the stories, some of the experiences that's been coming across us has just been, for the buyers, it's been really good because they've been getting huge credits, but for the sellers, it has been creating some stressful events from that potentially could have been avoided. Okay. Just the other day, I was doing an inspection down in Lake Forest, and the current owner had installed a new HVAC system, and they had it transferred into their attic. And when we got up there, now quickly, a truss roof system is an engineered roof system. Okay. You cannot cut truss members at all.
Okay.
The HVAC company, when they were putting the air handler, the furnace up in the attic, they cut some of the trusses. So when we discovered that, that's going to require an engineer stamp, permits, a general contractor, and basically about a $40,000 credit.
Wow.
To get that corrected, and then put the whole transaction into kind of instability during that period.
Sounds
of
like
time.
the roof would be unstable too.
Well, the whole building eventually would show signs of movement because of that cutting that truss.
My air conditioner is pretty big. I wouldn't want that falling through.
No, you don't want that falling through, and you don't want to have it's just nothing good is going to come from that. Right.
See, you wouldn't even know. Someone like me would have no clue about any of that stuff. But continue our conversation. We are chatting with Jeff Clark, Trident Inspection Group and Associated Exterminators. He goes both ways. Bugs and inspections. I don't know what you're thinking about over here, Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of you were mentioning before about the idea of, one of the things that is important when you're talking to an inspection company, as from a consumer advocate's point of view, is I don't want somebody that's gonna deal with a transaction from a minutia issue,
right? 100%.
But when you mentioned in the last segment about something, putting an air conditioning unit or whatever that is, or a furnace in the attic, and it's not engineered for that. That sounds more like health and safety than it does anything else. That's serious stuff.
Correct. Most of the time, Ron, we go on site just to inventory the property. And to your point, we find the minutia things, crack this, that really have, that aren't going to, it's just natural wear and tear on the house.
Sure.
That would be probably 70, 80% of the inspections that we perform. But on those occasions, with the purchase price being so high, with everything being the way that it is, you want to make sure that you have somebody there that's advocating for you, the buyer, or if we're there for a pre-listing, for you, the seller. The appraisal, the lender's going to have the appraisal go out there to make sure that the property meets their criteria. The agents are going to be negotiating on your behalf, but the home inspector is really there, not beholden to the outcome, to just let you know what the condition of that property is. Because when's the last time that you've been in your attic or in your crawl space? When's the last time? Correct. When's the last time that you've pulled the panel off of your electrical panel, the cover off your electrical panel? When's the last time that
I've done that once, Jeff, but I didn't even know what I was looking at.
Correct. So
right. I mean, that's
there's some things out there that you want to have somebody that's trained, that's going to be able to identify these different items, that's going to let you know whether you continue with the transaction is not the point. The point is to inform you what you're stepping into. What's the serviceable life of let's say a $2,000 water heater, or what's the serviceable life of the air conditioner or the heater, or whatever the case may be.
So something you're kind of throwing in there, where I had this conversation. I was consulting somebody yesterday, and they're looking to buy a second home, which will become their retirement home. And it's about 150 miles from their primary residence. And they were talking with the listing agent about the property. And my comment to them was, I have nothing against listing agents or buyer's agents. I mean, I work with them all the time. But my concept is, if I was getting divorced, and obviously I'm not, I wouldn't use my wife's attorney. If I got a DUI, which I won't,
right,
I wouldn't use the district attorney as my attorney.
Right.
I want somebody representing me.
Right.
Now, we get disclosures in a real estate transaction, but somebody like yourself is going out there and working on behalf of whoever's hired you.
Correct.
Right. So you're going to look for, as the representing the buyer, what you're looking at. Mm-hmm. And you're probably going to be able to go to things quicker than I would as a novice, as very ignorant.
Right. Well, it's funny because I always walk around with my son. He works for us, and we're a family-owned business. So he'll when I walk in there, I'm just spotting things, and he's like, it's the difference between a trained eye,
Right.
right? Knowing what you're looking for, knowing the points, being able to understand what's going on, both individually and then how all the systems work together,
Sure.
right? Being able to do that, because I've probably done, I mean, we've got to be in the plus 5,000 inspection range at this point. So it's just the compiling of the education, the seminars, and the actual inspections is really what sets us apart.
It's funny you say that, because I started in a different business. I was in the import-export business 100 years ago with my dad. And at one point in time, I made a comment to him. I said, I said everything that you said, and when you said it, it happened. When I said it, it didn't. And we agreed it was the gray hair factor, right? You and I can't use the gray hair factor anymore. But it's the same thing you just said with your son, right? It's a matter of not that your son doesn't know it. It's just that you've got a little more experience that you're bringing to the conversation, and right or wrong, it brings a little more credibility.
Right. It does. And really what you want to do is, when you go over these reports, I'm not happy when I find something. I'm not any one way, but what I want to do is just relay the facts of the case, the facts of the report to the person, put it in proper context, and then pivot towards a solution. We're not just there to say, okay, the truss system's broken or cracked, it's been cut, and then just walk away and just let them deal with that. That would be, in my opinion, that would be a disservice. So what we do is we're checking with the agent. Do you have somebody that you need to refer to? If not, we have, these people that we could refer. So that way we could pivot towards solution and get them the answers. Because most things in a property are fixable. Right. I haven't come across a property that couldn't be fixed. Right. It may have taken these certain steps to fix it.
Sure.
But it was repairable. And the most important part is, in all of these cases, the transaction kept moving forward.
You made another comment in there that I want to dig into, is that you're not going out there saying that it's good or it's bad. It just is.
Yes, correct.
Right. So, and you're not the, I say this with our appraisals when we have appraisers go out as well. The appraiser doesn't tell anybody the value of the property for the buyer and the seller. Right. They talk about the value for the collateral, right? It's a very scientific issue. Mm-hmm. The value of the property is what a willing buyer is going to pay a willing seller.
Right.
So when you go and you found this $40,000 an issue, or whatever that thing was that you were talking about, doesn't mean the property is good or bad. No, it's just that is something that needs to be addressed.
Correct. There is no people. I get the question over and over. Would you buy this house? And my standard answer to that is, you want me to remain objective in this.
Right.
You don't want me to be emotional. That's your job. This is your transaction.
It's a good way to put it. You don't want emotions.
Yeah. You want me to just be here's the factual basis of this house. Here's what the report says. This is what we found. These are the solutions.
Never seen you wear that striped shirt though. Right, because that's how you are the referee.
Correct.
Right. I mean, you're not making the decisions. You're just calling balls and strikes.
Calling balls and strikes.
This is what it is. This is what you might want to look out for. And this is what we found.
Correct. And we wanted to take that one step further. And so we were able to start Associated Exterminators. We're to bring that into the fold, because what that does is that brings a higher level of transparency to the termite inspection, termite treatment, termite repair, and also pest control, right? Because in the home inspection industry, that has over the past 10, 15 years, that has grown leaps and bounds with technology. So we've taken the termite and we brought a higher level of transparency to the client, so that way they can see. Because again, when's the last time you've been in your crawl space? When's the last time you've been in your attic? Do you even know what we're talking about? Or are you just reading a two-dimensional report with no context to it?
Well, that makes a lot of sense, because if you're out there doing a home inspection, you're going to see all that stuff anyway. If the exterminator's out there doing an extermination, they're going to see portions. They're not going to see whether they're probably not going to be looking at electrical panels and whatnot. Right. But you're going to see if there's varmint droppings in the electrical box or whatever.
There's just a tremendous amount of overlap there.
Sure.
So when I recognize this, it always been one of my goals to start that process, because I want, because you read home inspection reports and I tell all of my guys, make the call. Everything can't be refer out. Make the call towards the solution. So we wanted to incorporate as many licenses because there's licensing for termite and pest, and we wanted to be able to be that trusted professional to make that call on behalf of our client.
Continue our conversation. Jeff Clark, Trident Inspection Group and Associated Exterminators, is with us today. Talking to Jeff, we talked about a lot about inspections in the last couple segments, and if you missed them, shame on you. But you can watch the replays. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Let's talk about pests. But I don't know why we've got so many personal things that I can bring to us. The mosquitoes at our house. Now, my wife, I heard her just yelling yesterday about squirrels. Is that it? Is that something?
Rodents.
Rodents.
Yeah, they're just rats with tails.
Okay.
Cute little fluffy tails.
Yeah, they make a mess.
They do. They do.
Is there what do you do? I mean, how do you encourage them to leave without having to just put poison out?
Well, when we show up, it's time to set baits up and to set the poison out, right?
Okay.
It's very difficult because they're just a free ranging rodent, right? There is no way to limit them. They're just going to be coming around wherever the food's at. So that's just an unfortunate.
So they're like our palm trees.
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, they're gonna nest. They're gonna breed. They're gonna eat. They're gonna, they're just.
So you're the expert here, Jeff. I want to put you on the spot. Those sonic things that they advertise, are those worthless, or are they?
They work a little bit.
Okay.
But they may go bad. The frequency may be off. There's a lot of moving parts there that could fail on those.
Okay. So especially if you try and buy a cheap one.
Well, yeah.
You're gonna probably be in real trouble then.
Yeah.
Okay. And is it the same process dealing with gophers and rats and mice and squirrels? Is it?
No, gophers are a little bit, that requires special licensing that we don't have for gophers. Okay.
I'd imagine, especially in the hills areas.
Correct. So we deal primarily
Caddyshack.
with mice and rats and do rodent exclusions and trapping and bait stations in the home and seal up. They do a rodent exclusion where you go around and you seal up vent stacks on top of the roof. You put wire mesh in front of there on below your all of your penetrations. We put a mesh on there so that way it prevents them from gaining access to the house. Then in more advanced cases where they've actually nested, they've breed inside of your insulation. They've chewed up wiring on your HVAC system or your electrical where you get them fried. So we'll start trapping inside of there, setting up glue boards, possibly replacing your insulation, depending, because they are just, lack of a better word, they are just nasty.
Yeah, they are.
They are just nasty.
Now, I used to have at an old residence I had. We had a fruit tree, and we used to find cinnamon or cumin. Used to keep them away.
Yeah.
Was that luck?
I prefer poison.
Okay.
On those. I do, because they just glue traps, just get them out of the house. Get them out of the house. Get them out of the house, just because the way that they navigate, they smear fecal material because they don't see that well. So everywhere you see them, they're going to be coming in. They could get inside your walls. They could chew PEX plumbing. I mean, there is just no stop. And if they really get a high pressure inside of that house, it could end up literally costing you thousands.
Wow.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like fun.
No, be proactive on that.
Okay. And Associated does that.
Yes, we do.
Okay,
yes,
good.
we do.
So let me ask you this, because you and I have talked about this before, and I'm going to throw a tough one at you. So when we talked about the inspection business, I think you had mentioned that as a home inspector, you find the problems, but you guys don't really do the work of what you find.
Well, there is, great question. There is, in California Business Profession Code, says that if you are an inspector, you cannot perform any repairs for 1 year from the date of the inspection. However, because we are licensed by the state of California, we can stay within our purview of our licensing for the pest and the extermination.
Okay.
And because the pest industry is heavily regulated. We got the agricultural, the EPA, the Consumer Affairs, and then the Structural Pest Control Board. So we're regulated beyond belief.
Oh, welcome to my world as a mortgage lender.
Yes, it's insane. But we are staying within. We are allowed, and within business and profession code to do those repairs
Okay.
as they pertain to pest and termite.
Okay, good. Because that's a big issue. I mean, doesn't make a whole lot of sense to be able to for you to tell me, hey, you got an infestation and find somebody to help you.
Correct. And that was one of the things that I would have difficulty with, as far as making all of these call outs and then having to vet any type of referrals that we would have, because
Sure.
I don't want to just leave them with just, here's the situation, and not be able to provide any type of solution or any type of pathway for them to go to take it to the next step.
And that's my big issue right here on the show, is that we always want to have a solution. I want to,
Right.
say, here's the problem. I'm not going to tell you the solution. Right? You
It's
go
a
figure it out
secret.
yourself.
Yeah, it's a secret. I don't
Right?
know.
Even though I've done over 4,000 radio shows, talked to hundreds and hundreds of maybe thousands of guests since 2010, I have a good idea of who I believe is doing things from the right heart.
Right.
But I got to keep it a secret.
Yeah.
That's not what we do on Ron Siegel Radio.
Right.
So if you have questions about these things, give me a call at 800-306-1990.